Welcome back, everyone, to Kaiserreich, and they just released a big-ass update. Well, not really big-ass update, but actually a pretty small one. 0.7 called El Condor or something, and it's about South America. And so I just thought, hey, maybe I'd play it, because, you know, what else am I going to do with it? It's all these South American factions and the Dutch East Indies that got a focus tree. So it's not that massive, but it does have the potential for some good stuff. I'm going to play as Argentina, as you can probably already surmise by my thing. Anyway, so what is the deal with us? Well, the deal with us is that essentially Manuel Carles, this guy, is in control, and he basically is Hitler. Yeah, I know, right? And he just took over the government, like in December, you know, it's called like the Christmas coup. Yeah, so late December 35, sorry. So it's just been a few days that we have taken over the government, and he sits in the Casa Rosada, which is the pink house. It's like the Argentinian White House. And he has to retake the whole country and then, you know, make Argentina great again, essentially because it's just very unstable. So now we need to take a lot of these focuses, very, very short focuses that are about us retaking over the country. So essentially thrown into chaos by Manuel Carles and the, actually, no, let's just first, let's first get some production. Oh, really now? Of course, I have divisions in the Malvinas, which belong to us. 3 dockyards, make destroyers, and yeah, okay. So, woes of the Christmas coup, thrown into chaos by Manuel Carles and the Liga Patriotica (LP), the Patriotic League, just after the Christmas celebrations last year. Oh God, that's a lot of text. The nation of Argentina is in a state of total anarchy, with various military elements vying for control over the presidency. So we're gonna secure the military apparatus because we only have the loyalty of the LP militias and the ARA. I'm not exactly sure what the ARA is supposed to be. I've tried to look around. It does not tell me, but yeah, we'll be fine. We should convince the garrisons and militia outposts to join our side and cast aside the democratic forces until we can get enough influence to sway the Argentinian army in our favor. And that's why we only have 2 divisions. It's because the rest of the army technically exists somewhere, but it's just that we do not control it. So that's why our army is so damn small. We just control the Malvinas. Wait. Ooh, we have Isla San Pedro with 30 people. And Buenos Aires, essentially. The rest of the country, there might as well be nothing. Ooh, we've got Perón as a possible general. Huh, interesting. But we're going to take Enrique Mosconi as a leader. Put Field Marshal in. Swamp Fox. Oh, wow. That is a good Field Marshal. Anyway. But the early 20th century, Argentina was enjoying an economic boom and fast-growing economy. Based on its meat and cereal exports, immigrants from all over Europe flooded towards the republic, and vigorous entrepreneurship and a nascent industry quickly propelled Argentina forwards as one of the most prosperous nations on the planet. Trade relations were secure, and exports to the United Kingdom and Germany kept increasing. The Weltkrieg struck. Argentina was forced into neutrality, unwilling to side with either one of its most important economic allies, the UK, or its second most important one, Germany. By steering between the two, the sanctions were brought down by the British, enforcing an embargo on trade, and there goes Kerensky, forcing an embargo on trade with Germany, while Argentina tried to circumvent this by selling through third countries. Oh God. For third countries, the sales were not the same, and the pre-Weltkrieg miracle slowed down. As the last years of the Weltkrieg approached, it became apparent to the UK that it was fighting a losing fight and ordered the Argentinian government and companies to ramp up production and exploit the nation to the fullest. Discontent with the increased demands and sick of British exploitation, the workers started to organize, protest, and finally rise up in an armed revolt. Unable to contain the situation, the control of the Argentinian government on the uprising went from bad to worse in the mid-20s, as Argentina had lost control of Santa Cruz, Chubut, and Rio Negro provinces to the newly formed Fronte Obrero Patagónico, aka this part. These Patagonian workers. Three subsequent democratically elected governments were tasked with solving the crisis, but failed one after the other. In response to their incapacity to rule, General Uriburu rose in 1930 to attempt to crush the revolt. A reign of terror spread across the nation, with socialist and syndicalist sympathizers massacred and pushed southwards. His dictatorship was, however, short-lived, as he died from cancer 2 years later, forming a power vacuum and once more no large-scale intervention in the south. Very well. Shut up. Anyway, so Mendoza becomes... just a bunch of places become demilitarized zones because we don't control this stuff. Elections are winning out, and through electoral fraud, the PAN under Roca successfully takes power. The PAN... we do not have a PAN. Prompting a slow recovery from Uriburu's dictatorship and a changing attitude towards the Patagonian workers. Small skirmishes into the FOP territory are launched, and the Navy successfully retakes the Isla Grande de Tierra del Fuego, which is this one. Intervention from Chile, however, stops the government from achieving victory and temporarily ends the conflict with the FOP. In 1935, rumors start surfacing that Roca may be attempting to end the conflict and leave the FOP alone. Outrage across the nation erupts, enabling the Liga Patriotica under Manuel Carles to gain the support they need, culminating into the Christmas coup. Supported by Navy and various military elements, Carles coups the government on Christmas 1935, takes control over the capital region, and starts solidifying his control over the nation. As the 1st of January 1936 overtakes the nation, Carles is still in the midst of his attempted coup, with success far from certain. Aside from the Buenos Aires capital region and small island provinces, his control is nil. Support from the ARA, or Argentina Armada. Oh, okay, so it's the Argentinian Navy. Armada de Argentina, okay. Is guaranteed, but many of the military commanders in the army doubt Carles's potential and are organizing to put down his coup. So this is introducing another one of our mechanics, which is the Inter-Service Rivalry, just like in Japan in regular Hearts of Iron 4. Also, you know, there's no Inter-Service Rivalry in this Japan. They should add it. Anyway, right now the Navy is dominant because they support us, and the Argentinian Navy is pretty important. So we're going to need to maintain the Navy and pay attention to it. But making the army stronger will be one of our priorities, actually. So the Brazilian Denouncement. Brazilian leadership has denounced our government as illegitimate in a blatant attempt to discredit our revolution. While escalation is unlikely, this is an unprecedented breakdown in relations between the two major nations on the continent. So, yeah, we don't like each other, but we were never going to like each other anyway. And they also have problems of their own, because Brazil also got reworked by the... I can't train this Guardia division. I will train some Marine infantry, I guess. Secure the military apparatus. Control the railroads. All railways in Argentina lead to Buenos Aires, which places us in the unique position to quickly lash out and quell forces rallying across the country. Sabotage and rebel forces, however, have greatly damaged these tracks and will need to be crushed. Oh god, totalists. And the main railway hubs of Pergamino, Bahia Blanca, and Rosario have to be secured before we can move on. So, Rosario is this one. Bahia Blanca and Pergamino, I do not know where they are. Okay, Bahia Blanca is over here. This will be an interesting lesson in Argentinian geography, I guess. Pergamino, I just don't see it anywhere, but it's probably somewhere that leads to Cordoba. Damn, these places have a lot of VPs. So I guess we're going to have some resilience if we fight. Anyway, with Argentina, we have that. Okay, so fight for the Estación Retiro. As the primary railway hub of our nation, the city of Buenos Aires plays a key role in connecting the vast swaths of land of our country. Most of the northern railroads, however, pass through Rosario, which has not yet declared its allegiance for Carles and may prove to be a thorn on our side during the northern campaign. Our troops are currently finishing up the loyalist remnants in the Estación Retiro in Buenos Aires, but we will have to decide whether the ARA secure the coastline and its populous cities of the Rosario hub first. So, are we going to go south, towards Mar del Plata, or are we going to push towards Rosario? Of course, like, we have the big Plata River, so, the River Plate, so I think that, like, our Navy could just, in real life, they could just this river is navigable, so they could just sail up the river. Anyway, so either we go to Mar del Plata or we go to Ara. Or to Ara, to Rosario. I would push towards Rosario. Consolidate the GBA capital region. Even though the capital was the first city to fall from the boots of the LP and the ARA, Buenos Aires is a megalopolis spanning from the Tigre River to the old city of Berazategui, creating a huge problem for us since the various cells of loyalists to the old government still remain scattered throughout the region, thwarting thus far all attempts by our forces to eradicate them. And we have Black Monday. I wonder if that's going to reach us. We don't need more problems, so yeah. What's good about this is that of course. When the German market opened this morning and the stocks suddenly started plummeting, our nation was one of the first to be hit by the wave. Yeah, we all know what Black Monday's like. So, minus 35% factory output, 20% consumer goods factories, and minus 35% construction speed. Stocks continuing to plummet and investors all around the nation panicking. We could close the stock exchange and demand the banks to refuse paying out desperate citizens. This will buy us some more time to fix the disaster while we are focusing on political affairs, but it will surely not be appreciated by our population. Either close it or the free market will fix this. We should probably close it. Okay, consolidate. Consolidate the GBA capital region. Clashes at the Colegio Militar de la Nación. One of the last strongholds in the greater Buenos Aires region, the Colegio Militar de la Nación, aka the National Military College, was occupied by loyalist members of the military who barricaded themselves inside the compound awaiting reinforcements from the interior. In response to this last-ditch effort, soldiers of the ARA were sent in to try and push them out. While small clashes occurred throughout the compound, the army surrendered. A week later, when their basic utilities and their will to hold out had started to fade. Amongst the captured were a few notable army commanders, but it seems that the majority of the staff had fled the city during the first days of the coup. This victory may be insignificant in the greater picture, but we now firmly control the entirety of Buenos Aires. So we can either execute the dissidents, which is going to increase our stability more, but decrease our war support more, or incarcerate the or just incarcerate the officers. I will execute them because I want my stability to recover as quickly as possible. Rosario still has not fallen, so we cannot say seize disloyal garrisons. We will found the Gendarmeria to better control the discontent provinces and to secure a rapid response force should the situation escalate. We should consider the creation of an Argentinian national Gendarmerie placed directly under the defense minister's commands to crack down on rebelling provinces. So that's going to be our stuff. Cordoba and Rosario denounced the Carles regime. Strongly influenced by the army and the remnants of the socialists that haven't fled southwards, the cities of Cordoba and Rosario have declared the government of Buenos Aires incapable of ruling Argentina and have cut all ties with the capital region and urged the other states to follow suit. Conservative members of the army have announced... Oh boy. There's so much text. Have announced their support for the movement and are establishing defensive positions around Rosario to counter our forces. Invoke Article 6. I don't know what that is. With questionable support from the army and the limited manpower of the ARA, debate has arisen. Article 6. I don't know. Debate has arisen about the capabilities of our internal strike force. According to the Argentine constitution, the armed forces can technically not intervene in internal civil conflicts, so the gendarmerie would be created as an organ subordinate to the defense ministry and thus to the cabinet. Okay, so it's basically just a security force that's independent. Our funds, however, are limited at this time, and the loyalty of new recruits would be questionable at best, which has made Carles reconsider the proposal to avoid the possibility of a counter-coup from within his own ranks. Oh, this could be problematic. Oh, found it. Anyway, Carles invokes Article 6. So the federal government may intervene in the territory of the provinces in order to guarantee the republican form of government or to repel foreign invasions. And at the request of their constituted authorities, it may intervene to support or re-establish them should they have been deposed by sedition or invasion from another province. So this is just our... Okay. Start the campaign. So we're gonna invade the other provinces. Control the judiciaries. Due to the high number of rebels and syndicalist sympathizers in our nation, full control over the judicial system could persuade the judges to crack down quicker on these criminals. Mendoza and Entre Rios side with Cordoba. So Entre Rios is this province over here. Mendoza is... wow, Australasia. Mendoza is here. Man. What a start. Victory in San Nicolas. Quick and decisive strikes to capture the railroads around Buenos Aires have been greatly successful, and our troops now control the road towards Rosario and other inland cities. Troops are being sent by train to Rosario to quell the revolt and are expected to arrive there before the army has a chance to prepare its defenses, giving us the opportunity to take the populous city. Onwards we go. There we go. Intervention in the judiciary branch. During the early years of the 20th century, our nation started to slowly move away from the old authoritarian system towards a more open and democratic system by changes to the constitution and the implementation of checks and balances. The subsequent separatism... More stuff! Subsequent separatism in Patagonia and the continued corruption and shady dealings of the conservative ruling party, however, has stumped the progress and kept the old system alive and thriving. Not only this has led to great... great disgruntlement amongst the people, it has created a hotbed for Carles supporters to claim that the High Court is obstructing populist will. Okay, so now we're in control. We have relieved, or we could relieve the judges. So... we can, however, further push our narrative and start replacing the lower courts as well with our followers, although this might backfire greatly should the people turn sides. We shall only replace the High Court. Close the currency board. For most of our history, the currency board has tied the peso to a gold standard where an organ called the Caja de Conversión was tasked with maintaining the value of our currency. With stocks plummeting and Germany taking decisive action to soften the blow, our exports have lost their competitive edge and are going to be struggling to compete with cheap Eastern European and domestic products. Okay, so we can abandon the gold standard, essentially. If we keep the board open, it says nothing is going to happen. And if we close the board, we're going to lose political power, but probably we're going to get something to help with our economy, so... close the board. Full of Rosario. Surprised by the quick reaction of our troops and ill-prepared to take on our forces, the city fell only after small skirmishes in the center of the city. While not much of the rebel leadership was captured in the attack, the moral implications of the victory are great, prompting Mar del Plata and Concordia to immediately surrender to the central government. So Mar del Plata is here, and Concordia... I do not know where Concordia is. Oh, it's Entre Rios. Okay. To surrender to the central government as well in fear of retaliation should they side with the rebels. Material damage in the city is fairly limited to the excellent reaction of our troops, but the important railway hub that we hope to capture was bombed just before our arrival to prevent us from taking over quickly the other cities. A great victory for our nation. So, unfortunately, it's still a demilitarized zone. Anyway, we're gonna seize disloyal garrisons. So, seeing the defeat of their allies at Rosario and the subsequent successes of our forces, many of the former disloyal garrisons are switching sides and joining ours. And then we're gonna temporarily restrict civil rights.
The Constitution conflicts with various points of our policies and should be temporarily suspended until the crisis is over. While we are expecting heavy resistance to the decision, it will be in favor of our great nation. La nuestra grande nación. Anyway, seize disloyal garrisons, temporarily restrict civil rights. Peso spirals downward. With political insecurity in Argentina and massive economic troubles in the German Empire, the peso keeps spiraling downwards, forcing many of our old and powerful companies to close down and lay thousands of workers off. Government plans to intervene and save those without jobs are being drafted up, but in the meantime, the situation goes from bad to worse. Strong intervention is a necessity. So it looks like it's it might not have gone all that well for us to, you know, take away that gold standard because the peso is falling massively. Just like in real life. Anyway, this is, well, looks like we are getting a bit of a breather. Okay. Just, get some research done. Question of civil rights. Many of our supporters are convinced that we aren't rooting out the old guard efficiently enough and have pushed for a temporary restriction on the constitutional rights of our citizens. The proposal is, of course, not going to be well accepted by the majority of the population, but could guarantee a safer home front and avoid political or civilian opposition. All Argentinians must serve the state in these times. I agree. Formation of the Carles cabinet. So as our hold on Argentina is all but secure, we can finally dedicate ourselves to establishing a loyal and efficient cabinet to assist Carles in his reforms. So we're going to finally get some stability in the Carles cabinet. Afterwards, we need to... yeah, we need to do all this stuff. Oh yeah, that's probably why it's still a DMZ, because it's part of Cordoba, of the Cordoba state. So afterwards, we're going to need to, you know, continue to reestablish control over our provinces. And then after that, we're going to try to get some of this economic crisis resolved. Afterwards, there's some very important focuses that we can take out over here, and rapid militarization, because that's going to allow us to remove these cliques over here, these military groups, which are right now kind of reducing our organization. Anyway, to confirm his victory in securing the nation, Manuel Carles has announced that his cabinet picks this morning in Buenos Aires, or as announced his cabinet picks. As his Minister of Foreign Affairs, he has chosen the infamous Estanislao Ceballos, whose literary works have a profound impact on our nation and whose loyalty to the LP goes without question. Diego Isidro Mason has been chosen to serve as Minister of Economic Affairs due to his close ties with the rest of the armed forces and to personally oversee the rapid militarization of the Argentine war machine. As the Minister of the Interior Affairs, Carles has chosen another military man in the form of Elpio Anaya, who has played an important role in the first days of the Patagonia rebellion, but was unable to complete his task due to the failures of his superior, Colonel Hector Benigno Varela. Argentina marches onwards. So now we have a cabinet, and we assume full control. Look at this. Look, fucking Nazi stormtroopers marching through the streets. And now we have our army. We have our army. Wow, what an army, though. Holy shit, this is disorganized, weird, and in a way kind of interesting. So we have 3 divisions of Guardia, so guards, 4 divisions of infantry, which are just guards with 1 additional battalion. Then we have a light tank brigade, who have 3 cavalry and 1 light tank. Not bad. I like that. And 2 mountaineer divisions with 6 mountaineer battalions. All of them very experienced, probably from the war with the crazy syndicalists, and probably from all the fighting that has just, you know, come to pass. Anyway, now we just have 1 demilitarized zone, I think. I'm not sure exactly where our demilitarized zones are right now. Anyway, we have taken control. Temor Rojo. So, next moves, we can secure La Pampa. So like La Pampa is the Argentinian countryside, you know, the big ass like arable central Argentinian land that's basically under control of massive landowners. So we should send the armies to secure the Pampa plains. That's okay, so that's gain core on Entre Rios and 5% base stability. Or Cordoba. So the province of Cordoba is like the second biggest, like, or rather, I think that Cordoba is like the second most populous city in Argentina. I'm pretty sure. So yeah, this would be pretty important to take, and it's got civilian factories. So you know, I like civilian factories; they're good. Or we can eradicate conservative resistance, or we can take Temor Rojo. This is gonna lead down to complete political dominance, which is gonna remove the woes of the Christmas coup. The woes of the Christmas coup is, it's bad, but since we're not actually fighting right now, you know, we do not need that. Then Mendoza. To take this, we are gonna need to have finished the left-hand side. Start the Corrientes campaign. You take Santiago. So Corrientes is Chaco Austral, so that's like over here. So, okay, it's this area. There's Corrientes. Right, it's over here. So Corrientes here. Anyway, we're gonna first go ahead and march on Cordoba. So the province of Cordoba has always had trouble aligning with the views of the capital, Buenos Aires. As the leaders of the coalition against Carles, and due to its distance from the capital, the people of Cordoba have proven to be tough to deal with and will require specialized forces to keep them in check. And where did exactly my troops go? Here, because this whole place is technically still a DMZ. So I guess we have rallied our divisions forth. Now we can train infantry divisions, which is pretty good. And we are going to secure La Pampa. So following the defeat at Rosario, we should send the army to secure the Pampas plains and root out all remaining opposition. However, in the Pampas plains are one of the biggest swaths of arable land in the world, so it will not be an easy fight. Support equipment, and we do have artillery. So start to produce basic machine tools. We're gonna also need to produce artillery because we have tungsten. Yes! I love having tungsten. Anyway, now we're gonna militarily occupy Rosario and Cordoba. And establish our dominance or whatever. Secure La Pampa. Yes. So now our cabinet is infantry equipment, resource gain, efficiency, biased intellectual. You know, one thing that I really dislike about the Kaiserreich minister system, and this is just kind of a legacy of both Hoi 4 and Darkest Hours minister systems, or you know. Yeah, and the likes, is that like the foreign ministers are not that important, whereas in real life, like the foreign minister is basically one of the most important figures in any government. Anyway, so should we take Mendoza first? I mean, this is giving cores on these lands because for now these are colony states. So this is basically just gonna increase our manpower. That's what it's gonna do. So Mendoza, where is it? Mendoza is over here. Mendoza is the area that's near the crazy syndies. So probably we should consolidate Mendoza. Famous for its wine production, the region of Mendoza is a key economic and strategic area for our nation, considering the largest and safest mountainous passage towards Chile lies there, and thus has to be brought back under our control at all costs. Looks like Siam actually avoided their civil war. What? Did you do that? I think you did that. I don't know. Siam is just so complicated. I do not understand it. It's one of the most complicated nations in Kaiserreich. Full of Tucumán. So now we can garrison, you know, this place so that the hated syndies do not fuck with us. Let's go. So, fall of Tucumán. Tucumán is not a key industrial center in our nation by any stretch, but it's a city held dear to Argentinian patriots. It's the city where our Declaration of Independence from Spain was finally signed, so it's like the Philadelphia of Argentina. Unrest. And where the country was born. Now the very same city shall bear witness of a national rebirth when we finally take control of it, blah blah blah. So, Tucumán, where are you? It's over here. Wow, it's very far in the interior. Unrest in Cordoba and Mendoza, caused by the economic recession and the feeding of political insecurity. Well, that's the end of the first part, actually. So I want to thank you all for watching. Hope that you'll join me next time as we make Argentina great again. And yeah, I'll see you.